Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us here on Joy Asonye Live. It's always a pleasure to know that you are right there listening and following us. It's no longer news that Israeli-Hamas has been having conflict. Recently, we learned about the truce that is set to now continue as the two sides work on releasing more people, according to a statement from the Qatar foreign minister. Hamas and the Israel Defense Forces. The current ceasefire stated Friday has been extended by 2 days. The extension announcement came as the pause was set to expire. What is going to happen after that? How can we get to the root cause of this and ensure that the humanitarian crisis going on there's an end to the humanitarian crisis going on, especially as the world needs peace, as we've been advocating at the moment. There's so much to discuss when it comes to the Israeli and Hamas conflict going on. But to do justice to all that's been going on, in the studio with me is the Palestinian Ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Abdullah Shawesh. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you so much, Joy, for having me.
Yes, we'll go for a short break right now to return to get into the conversation, so stay tuned. It is going to be very interesting. Welcome back from that short break. Ambassador, sir, it's wonderful to have you once again join us to discuss this. In the media, we've been very careful. Is it an Israeli-Palestinian conflict? Is it an Israeli-Hamas conflict? We've been careful to discuss this, but give us an idea as to what you think should be the proper nomenclature or phrase to give it.
Thank you so much again, Joy, for having me. Indeed, before we went on a break, you prepare or you already deliver on a very important and short and concise introduction, but I need to tackle this introduction, 3 very important points. This is my responsibility, legal responsibility and moral responsibility for sure, and diplomatic responsibility. Because you mentioned that Israeli-Hamas war, which is completely not true. It's Israel against the Palestinian, whole entire Palestinian people. It's a war launched by Israel against the Palestinian people. Unfortunately, it's not the war that was launched only 1.5 or 2 months ago. This war was launched long time ago. Cool. It was launched by the United Kingdom itself, 1917, when they issued the notorious Balfour Declaration. In this declaration, the United Kingdom gifted our historical land to the European Jewish. At that time, exactly at that time, they saw the seeds for the problematic issue that we faced. The Israelis or the Jewish military gangs, whom is the foreigner, whom came from Europe at that time after 1917 and during the Second World War, was starting to organize themselves in a military militias. Those military militias launched many wars or many militias gangs, conducted many massacres against the Palestinian people, and needless to tell about Deir Yassin, King David, and many others. Just anyone to Google it, he's gonna find tens of massacres that they conducted, and one of them was launched. The secret behind it was launched only 2 years ago, which is called the Tantura. So that before the establishment of the state of Israel itself, the Palestinian was suffering, and there was a war against the Palestinians. In 1948, the Israeli or the Jewish military gangs itself succeeded, unfortunately, to expel us, to ethnically cleanse us from our historical land at that time. After many massacres was conducted against the Palestinian people, and we became refugees. They succeeded also to destroy 531 villages from our villages, and when I'm talking about 531, it's the majority of the Palestinian villages and that town at that time. Then Israel, after the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948, which we call it a Nakba because we are catastrophe. And Nakba means catastrophe. So that after that, 19 years after that, 1967, they occupied the remaining part of historical land of Palestine, which is West Bank, Gaza Strip, of course, and East Jerusalem. So that this is not a new issue. The launching a war against the Palestinian people, it's a long time ago, and I already go through that in a very short manner. I go through the history of that. So that it's not a war against Hamas. It's very important. This is the Israeli propaganda. This is the Israeli propaganda fully supported and published by the biased, a complete biased and complicit Western media, many Western media outlets, of course. So that when we talk about this is a war against Palestinian people, and another evidence, if this is a war against Hamas in Gaza, how come they kill more than 200 Palestinians since the last escalation? How come they killed them? 2 of them just yesterday, 2 of them 8 years and 15 years old engineer, and the cameras is capturing them just for fun. They killed 2 child just for fun, not more than that.
Well,
So that it's not a war against Hamas, it's a war against the Palestinian people. Then another issue you mentioned it, which is IDF, Israeli Defense Force. Just the logic. Let us back to the logic. How come it is an Israeli Defense Force while they are occupying Ramallah, while they are occupying Nablus and occupying West Bank? So that wording have a meaning. It's Israeli occupation force, Israeli occupation army, regardless of how much they will going to push to make sure that the only term that will be used Israeli Defense Force. There is nothing called defense while you are occupying our territory. So that this is the second one. The third one is the exchange of the hostages. Unfortunately, yes, they from Gaza they released approximately 100 many hostages, but even Israel released many hostages, but they capturing more than the number that they released them. Not only this, Israel before the last escalation in the Israeli jail, 5,900 Palestinians was in the Israeli jail. Since the last escalation, approximately 3,000 plus was jailed. Since the beginning of since 1967, 750,000 Palestinians was jailed in the Israeli.
700.
5,000, not only 7. Yes, 705,000 Palestinians was jailed in the Israeli prison.
So let's address the very first.
This is the 3 points that I would like.
But I would like us to also unbundle it and go back to the very first one. You say that the correction should be the insurrection against the Palestinian people by the Israelis. However, we've seen counter attacks from I'm not sure if to call it Hamas at this moment or the Palestinians. Would you say that these counter attacks we see on TV, we are Nigerians, we are not there, we are at the mercy of the media to give us a good idea as to what's going on? However, if you say it is just it is an attack on the Palestinian people,
entire Palestinian people,
the entire Palestinian people, how come there is a counter attack? We've seen casualties from both sides of the country.
We here should back to 2 things: history and the international law. In the international law, we under the Israeli occupation, and we have the full right. It's a legitimate right to resist the Israeli occupation. Any one of you here in Nigeria would like to put him, and for God forbid, put himself for 1 hour in our shoes, what you gonna do? You're gonna resist the occupation, period. By all means and the tools that you have it. So that it's a legitimate, it's a legal right for us to resist the Israeli occupation. This is not the first time that we're resisting them by military tools, by military weapons. We have a long history in that, and this is something we are not shy and we are not hide from it. Yasser Arafat did that. George Habash, the Christian Palestinian, did that and established the Popular Front, the Palestinian Popular Front, which launched and resisted the Israeli occupation with the military means, of course. So that this is, when it came to the history and to the international law, we are fully covered by the international law, and we are fully also, we have a history of resisting the Israeli occupation. But for sure, just to complete the picture, that President Abbas, the chairman of the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, and the chairman of the Palestinian Authority, State of Palestine, I mean, and the Palestinian Authority, he day and night calling for a non-violence resistant, popular resistant, and we are believe of that. But unfortunately, counter to his call, they used to call him a terrorist diplomat. Could you imagine a man that calling day and night for a non-violence resistant? They call him a terrorist diplomat. This is the point. I know you are in Nigeria, did not know many things about us. I know, and I exercise this issue, and I know that many issues need to be explained to the Nigerian people. So that I rely on you in the media, in different media outlets to reach out to me. I used to tell your colleagues in the media, different media correspondents, I used to tell them, come to me to listen to us. But I will not seek anyone's support. Don't support us. Just be fair. Just be fair and listen to us. Is it fair or not fair? Because our story, unfortunately, this chapter of the tragedy was completely hidden for one and very important single reason, which is the Israeli propaganda, which has dominated the international discourse long time ago, supported by, again, the biased and complicit many Western media main Western media outlet was dominating the discourse all around the world and covering our part of this. Our chapter. But today, thanks God, of course, for the social media, which gave us to some extent the ability to tell our story. The social media is helping us, but again, you here, and not only in Nigeria, in Africa, everywhere, you are the press correspondent, media correspondent, having a moral role, and you can play a crucial role in paving the way for the peace in the future. If and only if you gave us as a Palestinian the ability to tell or to uncover, to tell our story, to talk about our part of this tragedy.
Ambassador, you say it is a defense and it is within every human right to defend yourself. However, what happened on the 7th of October, I mean, you have established that it is a long time coming. Whatever happened there, was it defense as well when we read about that attack on Israel? No, this is the main issue that we are emphasizing, and me in personal used to say that the galaxy itself was not created only in October 7th. Why you did not? No one would like to just to back less than 24 hours before October 7th. When they slaughtering and they killed 7 Palestinians, innocent Palestinians. Since the beginning of this year till October 6th, Friday, October 6th, they killed 152 Palestinians. One of them called Muhammad al-Tamimi, 2.5 years old. Could you imagine? Sniped, 2.5 years old. We used to be killed as a Palestinian just to capture a very short video for their social media. Well, we've seen very gruesome pictures.
And I can share with you, if you, not only you, I mean Kaftan TV, I can share with you tens, if not hundreds of videos, but I hope that you will be able to
be objective about it.
Please, I can share with tens of those videos so that, again, you cannot slap me. They are slapping us. They and the United Kingdom, of course, on top of that, the United Kingdom was slapped us since more than 106 years ago. And when there is a reaction to this slap, then you're going to start, no, we should start measuring the history of only Saturday, October 7th. This is not fair.
Of course,
this is absolutely not fair. Even if you want to start the history in October 7th, what about October 10? What about October 11? What about October 20? What about this November 1, November 2, November 3? 15,000 Palestinians was completely slaughtered, completely massacred. But no one would like to stress.
Were also
Everyone want us to, when we talk about the 15,000 Palestinians, the majority of them, 70% of them is just the children and women. Then they will refer us again to the October 7th. If this is the case, why you did not accepting that October 7th, October 6th is a reaction to the Al-Nakba 1948?
Well, coincidentally, just yesterday, the 29th of November, was a day adopted for the resolution of the partition of Palestine. It did called Solidarity, International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. What did that mean to you in the midst of all of this, celebrating this International Day of Solidarity?
They are celebrating the division, the division of our historical land. At that time, the resolution, and it was adopted in 1947,
yes.
November 29th. At this exact day, the United Nations General Assembly decided, without now consulting with us, decided to divide it, to partition, to divide our historical land. And guess what? They gave the new arrival, the European Jewish who is new arrival, and consisted only less than 30% of the population at that time. The majority of the 30% was very new arrival after the World War II. They gifted them 54% of our historical land. Guess what also? 94% of Palestine at that time officially was owned by us as a Palestinian. And meanwhile, United Nations General Assembly was dividing and deciding to give them to, yes, and now they are celebrating it.
Was it opposed at the time?
It's good. It's not bad. I will not say that. I will not tackle it. But I'm just shedding light of the tragedy behind November 20.
Was it opposed at the time? Was it something?
Of course. Again, anyone would like to ask us any question, he should put himself in. I already gave you the circumstance. 94% of the land, officially speaking, by At-Tabo. I want you to remember this. The official document, registration document called At-Tabo. We still have it. We, the Palestinians, still have our official document. Even the Israeli themselves have in their archive have our Tabo. The United Kingdom have our Tabo. Everyone know that we have. At that time, we owned 94%. We are the majority. We are the owner of this land, and majority of them was a new arrival. Put yourself in our shoes. Will you accept that?
Of course not.
Thank you so much. This is the logic.
Nobody would accept that. But I just wanted to establish if it was an arrangement that you accepted.
No, they did not consulted us. They did not consulted us at all.
Okay, so far we've had several casualties and sufferings, not just in the Gaza Strip, but in Israel as well. We've recorded and seen very gruesome pictures of what's going on now. What would you say the international community who have tried? I mean, so far there's a truce effort, one that has been extended now, and after the 4 days or 5 days, 6 days that was initially, 6 days. Yes, 6 days that was initially arranged. Would you say that it has really helped in ensuring peace in this whole conflict?
No, ensuring peace, this is another complete different subject. But whether it is helped, yes, it is helped to some extent. First and foremost, we have the ability to discover how many we already lost it. We succeeded. Many of our families succeeded to dig under the rubble to get their
loved ones, bodies of their loved ones.
The body, the composed body. Some of it is a composed body, and I can share with you many videos in this issue. It's in a very sad situation. Yes, it is very good. At least we have the ability to say goodbye to our loved one before we lay them to rest, of course. it's very important because we need to breathe after more than approximately 50 days of a daily bombing every single minute.
Days today.
Yes, every single minute. After 48 days of a continuous bombardment on Gaza. Continuous killing, continuous fear. We need, at least as a Palestinian, to have the ability to have, I will not say truce, but type of just to breathe, because to breathe, which is very important. Also, it's very important because we need to eat. We need to some hygiene. I did not want to engage with the issue when it came to the hygiene, and in particular for the women's. A lot of women, we have on a daily basis 180 women deliver a baby without water. Could you imagine? Without water, without any type of hygiene. And all of your followers, the women, knowing what's the meaning of the hygiene when it comes. That's it. So we need to feel that we are a human being, at least when it came to the humanitarian aid, when it came to stop bombarding, because we lost a lot. We lost a lot of our loved one, and we are a very tiny community, only 2.2 million in Gaza, and we all know each other. So and it's in a very dense place. Gaza is only 365 square kilometer, which means that we know each other. We know each other. This is the point. And Gaza is totally, or nearly 40% of Gaza was leveled. The landscape of Gaza was completely changed.
This whole entire conflict sort of divided the international community. Some were for, and it was really unfortunate because it seemed like we moved away from the humanitarian casualties that was going on. But what would you say has escalated issues, if any?
No, I did not. I might not agree with you when you say divided the international community. No, it was united the international community, especially the streets on the international community. When you follow what is happening in the United States of America in a daily pace, whether it is in the universities in anywhere in the United States of America, and the United Kingdom itself, and Europe itself, it's united the whole international streets, so to speak, against the corrupt and the complicit government, the Western government. So that we feel that there is a change, and a real change is occurring and running right now, which means that we are on the right side. The media is covering us, the social media, 16 times more than the Israeli itself. And this is something we did not pay any effort with. But by the end of the day, as you, Joy, as a human being, when you compare all of these videos and all of these pictures coming from Gaza and West Bank, we trust of your humanity. Today, just many of the Jewish people themselves in the United States of America was supporting. Many of them was used to support us and to talk on our behalf, but many of them was changing their mind towards supporting the Palestinian people. So that, no, it's not dividing. The division, it's isolate the corrupt political leaders. It's, this event is isolating those completely, totally complicit in this textbook genocide.
Okay, you said it has united, so it means that you are really excited that for once there's a spotlight on what is going on in Palestine. However, we have to start talking solutions now. You have a document that prescribe exactly what the Palestinian people want. What is keeping us from effecting that document?
What do the Palestinians want?
Yes.
Peace. One word. Loud and clear. We have the Palestinian one tongue, one song, one lips. We will not change it. We did not change it. We are not changing it, and we will not change it forever. Peace. And peace now if it is possible. But how? The question is how. And before the question is who's putting the barriers before the peace? The Israeli occupation, the Israeli government, period. And even their supporters knowing that. All the political leaders all around the world, even the corrupt political leaders who are supporting the Israeli occupation, knowing that Israel is putting and did not spare any effort to put all the necessary barriers before the implementation of the peace process. So that, again, what we need is the peace. Who's putting the barriers is Israel. What is the role of the international community? This should be the question. If you are all affected, and everyone is already affected by this, no one will be safe until everyone is safe. This is a principle. You cannot be safe in Africa unless everyone or everywhere is safe. And we have a lot of experience through the history learned us, if you accepted that the fire to be there, the fire will reach out. Will reach you whether you like it or you do not like.
Exactly.
So if we agree that in this principle, no one is safe until everyone is safe, this means the international community itself should stand to uphold. It is legal, and it is moral, and it is it is legal and moral liability to put an end to this brutal occupation. The question is how and what type of tools could we use? How and what type of tools? It's one issue. The tools, again, we have the legal, the diplomatic, the political. All of these tools we can use it to put an end to the Israeli occupation and boycotting the Israeli occupation. It's very important. You cannot say like this is hypocrisy. The many of the European countries is full of hypocrisy, and this is not secret, because they are day and night saying that we are stand against the Israeli settlement. Then their shelves is full of the Israeli settlement product. This is hypocrisy. If you are against the Israeli settlement, at the first step you should do it is to stop importing from the Israelis. Period. This is very important. Then you cannot say that I'm against the settlement and the settlers people and the settlers fanatic gangs. Then they used to come to serve in your countries. I did not mean here, but in other countries especially. Yes. The settlers. You cannot say that I'm against the settlers, then they are serving as a representative of the Israeli occupation or state of Israel in your country as ambassador. What type of tools we already have it? The international law. Is it fair or not fair? Is it fair to back to the international law?
Of course,
it's very fair. That's very fair. This is very fair, very legitimate, and very important to back to the international law. And the international law was very clear. The occupied Palestinian territory, West Bank, Gaza, East Jerusalem is occupied Palestinian territory. Even the American, who fully support Israel and unequivocally, unshakable supporting Israel day and night, they used to say this is an occupied Palestinian territory, period. If you believe that this is an occupied Palestinian territory, you should use all the effort, all the pressure that you have it in your hand to put an end to this Israeli occupation. I'm gonna make the story very short. To have a peace, the international community, of course, peace. To have a peace in the Holy Land, in our historical Holy Land. The international community should stop treating Israel as a grumpy and spoily teenager. This is the only way to have once and forever a solution and a peace in the Holy Land, in Palestine.
Okay, that's a good time to go for a short break. I mean, it's been very enlightening. We still have the ambassador here, but we'll be back after this very short break, so stay with us. Welcome back from that. Well, we still have Ambassador Abdullah Shawesh. I don't know why I keep struggling with that. Shawesh, Abdullah Shawesh, the ambassador, the Palestinian ambassador to Nigeria. We've been discussing what he refers to as the Israeli incubation of Palestine. We've taken the conversation to how we can move away from this crisis that is not just affecting humanitarian efforts, but also economic. How can we move away from that? He has also talked about the international law that should be addressed at this time so that the Palestinian people can have the longed for peace. What is hindering that resolution to depend on the international law? That's where we'll take the conversation right now. Ambassador, what is the problem? Why can't we just rely on the international law? I might be naive to say that just rely on the international law, let's have peace already. What's hindering that?
Yes, but I want to back to again to your introduction because I'm the man of the word. And wording have a meaning, or word have a meaning, because you mentioned that that I refer it as or I claim that it's an Israeli occupation. It's not me, it's the international law. It's claiming and insisting that Israel is occupying the Palestinian territory, West Bank, Gaza, and even Gaza till today under the Israeli occupation, and East Jerusalem. Beside, of course, the Golan, the Syrian Golan. So that it's not mine, this is the international law, this is the reality, this is the factual issue.
However, the ethics of my job would not let me say that, because it would seem like I am taking sides. I must at all times be objective, and so.
But this is the official name. It's the official name for the Israeli existence in the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and these is the Israeli occupation. This is even the American themselves, the unequivocal supporter for the Israel.
Yeah.
For Israel is calling them the Israeli occupation.
Okay, can
so
we?
That you, so that it's
not just you. Is what you're trying to say. This is not just you.
It's the international, the whole international
community.
Yes.
Right. Now, can we move?
Even many Israelis calling it an occupation.
Right. Now, can we go ahead as to how we can now rely on that the international law that gives guidance to what can bring this peace that you had mentioned earlier?
After the Second World War, the international community, at that time 51 countries, was gathered in the United States of America to create a new body to save the peace and security all around the world. This body called the United Nations. Today it's the United Nations, which have another sub-bodies under it, many tens of bodies under it, but the main two bodies is the United Security Council and the United Nations General Assembly. Those, beside many other legal instruments, international legal instruments such as Geneva Convention and other legal instruments, is created to maintain the peace all around the world. Is created to guide us, to rule the international community. If we back to these bodies, if we back to and accept those instruments, those legal instruments to be the guiding for us, this will put us on the first important step. But the question is, who is refusing all of these bodies? Who is refusing all of these instruments, the applicability of all of these instruments, beside, of course, the Security Council resolutions, which is the product of the Security Council, and more than 1,000 resolution was produced by the United Nations General Assembly itself. All of these tools, all of these measures can take us a step forward. Added to that, 30 years ago, Chairman Arafat, the chairman of the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, was signed the Oslo Accord.
Exactly.
In Oslo Accord, we accept as a Palestinian to build our state in only 22% in our historical land. I would like to repeat it. We in Oslo Accord accepted to build our state in only 22% of our historical land. But unfortunately, the other side did not accept it. Even when they signed the Oslo Accord, they back and stand against Oslo. Today, no one of them is recognizing the Oslo Accord. They used to say that they declared their position. It's in a very old instrument. Yes. So that all of these instruments and bodies, Security Council with it is a product, United Nations General Assembly with it is a product, Geneva Convention, humanitarian law, and all of these, beside Oslo Accord, and all of these instruments it's ready. Just let us sit to the negotiation table to put those instruments and to make sure that we should, all of us, abide by the international law. If we abide by the international law, this means that we will put an end to this tragedy. Even in the international law, in the General Assembly itself, 1948, they issued another resolution after they expelling us and ethnically cleansed us from our historical land. They issued another resolution. The General Assembly itself, which is created Israel, they issued the resolution 194, calling for the return of the refugees. We should make sure that all of the applicability of Resolution 181, which kick-started the establishment of a state of Israel, should be applied only either to the Palestinians. We are ready to apply it. Exactly. But unfortunately, in this resolution, where they decided to give them or to offer them 54%, they already occupied at that time 78% of our historical land, and refusing today to apply, to implement this resolution. Even they refusing to implement the resolution 194. Any resolution that created by the Security Council or the General Assembly, they are refusing to implement and or it's not applicable for them. The international law can apply for anyone but Israel. So that again, when you ask me how the tools is there, the tools is already there, but how to implement it, it is to sit to the negotiation table. The international community should be very neutral, and the international community should stand strong and very firm to apply the international law. And there, I already mentioned that there is a lot of tools and a lot of
you have also alluded earlier that the international community is treating Israel like what you said is a grumpy teenager.
Grumpy and spoiled. Yes, because this is a big.
Okay.
No,
grumpy and spoiled.
Grumpy and spoiled. The grumpy and spoiled teenager. Yes, Israel. Yes.
And then you're still asking this international community to be neutral. By what you just said earlier, it seems you do not have trust.
No, you ask me how. How? I used to say that if there is a will in the international community, there is a way. And here I would like to take you again to the history, because the history is giving us a lot of lessons. 1956, Israel, France, and United Kingdom invaded Egypt at that time. Israel occupied Sinai and Gaza Strip, even in this war. When the United States of America have an agreement at that time with Russia, with the Russian Federation at that time, this is not the place to have a war in it, and we should put an end to this war. The United States of America just took them one phone call from the President of the United States of America at that time. I stand to remember his name, to Ben-Gurion, the Israeli Prime Minister. One phone call, not two phone calls, one phone call, and the order was like this: you should withdraw tonight from Sinai Peninsula, tonight, period. And he was withdrawn. Very well. At that time, United States of America have the will to do so, and they did. So that if there is a will, there is a way. We have already the instrument, and we have already the tools that how to apply and to enforce Israel to abide by the international law.
With what's going on right now, do you think that can still apply? This is 2023.
This is the right moment to sit to the negotiation table, because for very simple reason. Israel has tried all of the military solution long time ago, before the establishment of the state of Israel itself. They tried, and they tried to take us to make sure that the Palestinian will come to their knees and will surrender. But the Palestinians did not surrender at all, and will not surrender, and we will not become at all. We will not be the Khazarian Jew slave at all. One word and clear-cut word: we cannot and will not be the Khazarian Jew slaves, period. This is very important. And they tried the military solution. President Abbas day and night is used to tell them, you tried the military solution. And it was not work. It does not work and will not work. It's time to back to the negotiation table. It's time to back to cover ourselves, all of us, for our future, for our children in the future, to cover ourselves by the international law, by the UN resolution, by the Security Council resolution, and to abide, and all of us to accept, to have to put an end to this tragedy. And we are ready. As a Palestinian, we are ready.
But do you think that narrative that this is just about Hamas against Israel, do you think that narrative would help with this truth?
No, this is not narrative, Joy, because again, this is not narrative. This is a propaganda. Israel, Hamas, because as long as they're cornering, sorry to say that, Joy, this means that I gonna isolate the whole entire Nigerian community aside, then I gonna fight just against yourself, God forbidden, of course. Again, they are trying to put just one political Palestinian political fraction, and it's not true. If this is against Hamas, why did you kill more than 15,000 Palestinians? Then all of what did you declare to succeed to declare that you are succeed to kill less than 10 persons of Hamas, less than 10 of them. Till today, Israel itself did not declare that they killed more than 10 persons of Hamas. Till today. Hamas leader, I mean. But again, if it is against Hamas, how come you killed more than many thousand of the innocent Palestinian children? How come you are cutting the totally the fuel, the electricity, the water, the hygiene? Everything is short in Gaza now. Even the prices in Gaza, if you're gonna find anything, my family in Gaza. And this is part of my tragedy, my life tragedy. But unfortunately, I'm not from Gaza, of course, I'm a refugee. My father was born in Berga, in our home town at that time, before 1948. And I used to say that I'm a refugee in Gaza, but my family is refugees in Gaza till today. When I have the chance to talk to them or to send me some messages, they are talking about skyrocketing price. The issue with, for example, with 1 naira is jumped to 100 naira, if you find it also. So that, yes, Gaza is short of everything, and this is because, again, the Israeli occupation itself, this is not against Hamas at all. Anyone would like to talk about Hamas, he should, again, say, what about the other people you already slaughtering them, you already butchering them? If this is against Hamas, what about the people you killed them day and night in West Bank? We should be, again, abide by the logic, but again, the propaganda, not the discourse. The propaganda is different, and the Israeli is well expert in the propaganda. Let me just say another thing from the history. Before they established the state of Israel, while they are using our whole passport, our Palestinian passport. Yes, they used to have our nationality. They used to carry our nationality, our passport. The current main airport in Israel, which called Ben Gurion Airport, is a pure Palestinian airport. It was a lead airport till 1973. The main seaport today in Israel, Haifa. Haifa is an Arabic name. It's our seaport. It's our seaport. It's our seaport. But again, the propaganda is very dangerous. So that this is not discourse, this is a propaganda. Before again, just to back to the history, before 1948, Israel itself, or the Jewish gang at that time, with the propaganda, used to deliver one main slogan that dominated at that time the Western discourse: land without people, for people without land. Could you imagine? Land without people while they are traveling with our passport, Palestinian passport, our passport, the Palestinian passport. They carry our nationality, Palestinian. They're going to share with you the late Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir saying, I'm a Palestinian. She declared, she used to say that I'm a Palestinian, while they are carrying our passport, traveling all around the world with our passport, but the propaganda is saying that land without people, for people without land. Could you imagine? So that again, this should shed light on what the current propaganda. This is not against Hamas at all. This is against the Palestinian people, to expel the Palestinian people, to create another Nakba for the Palestinian people. And they did not shy about that. They used to say that day and night, you should leave. You should leave. Even the West Bank, they are already distributing, circulated many leaflets,
right.
Yes, calling for the people to leave.
Calling for the people to
yes, to leave voluntary. If you did not leave today voluntary to Jordan, you will forcefully be leaving. Please take another look to the issue. You have in the media, Joy and all of your colleagues here in Nigeria and Africa have a moral responsibility just to take a wider look. I know that you born and absorbing your information from the different, not the Western media outlet, which is I used to, and I will not hide to say that the Western media outlet, the majority of it, is completely complicit and biased to the Israeli occupation, period. You used to take your information from there. Now there is another ability. There is another one here in Nigeria. Another one gonna, to some extent, trying my ultimate best to tell you the other part of this story. I appeal to you, to all the media outlets here in Nigeria, please reach out to me. I'm available 24 hours, 7 days, just to tell you our story. Because, again, without knowing the other part, you will at least will not have the full picture. I'm here to tell you, to flip the coin, to tell you there is another chapter of this tragedy, and it's a moral and very fair to listen to us.
Now the truce has been extended, I think, by 2 days. It was announced, or it's uncertain exactly. However, do you have hope that this period we would see this truce that will bring everyone to the table? Do you think, I mean, the USA, Egypt, Qatar are all making this effort to ensure there is a truce? Do you think it will go further, having looked at the situation from both sides at this moment? For that sit down on the table you suggested earlier?
No, I hope that this will not be truce. This will be the end once and forever to the war between the Israeli war against the Palestinian people. I hope that. And to Israel to become a bit rational, to know, to listen to President Abbas again, to listen to his call again and again, and to start to be calm. This is and to start to stop their barbaric revenge against the Palestinian people again, and to put an end to this war, and to back to the negotiation table, covered by. All of us should be covered by, again, the international law, covered by the United Nations Security Council resolution, and covered by the United Nations General Assembly resolution, and other means and international legal means and instruments. This is very important. But the truth, this means that I'm gonna enjoy the next 10 or 24 hours, but I'm not pretty sure whether I will be alive and after that 24 hours. This is very difficult situation. I born there in a refugee Gaza, in a refugee camp in Gaza, and my family there. When they are talking about the truce, I start counting the minutes that whether after the truce I will be able to reach out or to communicate with my family. Or please make sure that, again, the truce means that he postponed, unfortunately, the killing of another thousands of Palestinians for another 24 hours. But he's intended to kill them. The question is how the international community should put all of its effort and the pressure on Israel to make sure that this is not a truce. This should be the end for the war once and forever. This is very important.
But when you look at what's going on right now, do you think anyone is ready to sit down to this negotiation table?
Two parts, we and the Israeli, and of course the moderators, whom should be decent moderators, but unfortunately many of them was not decent, and we have an unfortunate experience.
Hypothetically speaking, you now have...
No, I have no problem to speak. No, right. They are not decent, not decent. I'm not saying that. Yes. We should not be shy when we say that many of the moderator was not decent, was aligned themselves with the Israeli occupation till today. It's very important. So that two main part. We and the Israeli, President Abbas, the chief of the PLO itself, and the chairman, the chairman of the PLO, and the president of the state of Palestine. He's not ready today. Ready yesterday. He was ready yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and forever. We are the Palestinian. From our side, we are ready to sit and to negotiate again, abiding, of course, cover ourselves by the international law and all the instruments that I already. The question is Israel ready? No. Are they hiding this issue? No. They are day and night declaring that there is nothing called two-state solution. We will not sit again to the negotiation table. They used to say that President Abbas is another terrorist.
A leader?
Not leader. They classified him as a terrorist diplomat. Could you imagine? Yes, but yeah, just write it. Google it. Who's the terrorist diplomat according to the Israelis? President Abbas.
Wow, it's so sad what's going on, but like you said, I just hope that this truce will culminate to the end of the conflict once and for all. And like you said also, it will be nice to have sustainable peace, having had that roundtable discussion and negotiation that will lead to it. But thank you so much, Ambassador, for being part of the program and enlightening everyone on the program on what is indeed going on. Your side of the story, in spite of what you say, we don't always listen to the Western media, that propaganda you said. Some of us actually try to do the best we can to balance our report. And we also know what's been going on. It's unfortunate, the humanitarian crisis going on there. I'm happy there's a relief, and we're seeing aids coming for the Palestinian people. But before I let you go, what would be your last thoughts to people listening to us right now?
Many issues, of course. First and foremost, Nigerian people, Nigerian brothers and sisters, your sisters and the brothers there in Palestine is really needing your praying to them, needing your praying to the peace itself. It's very important. Pray to us, pray to the victim in Palestine, and also to the Israeli victim. We are fair enough. We are not seeing the picture from our point of view. We need to live in peace and security with everyone, especially with Israel. This is very important. Peace. Pray to us. Pray to this war to come to it is in very soon, because as long as this war is continuing, this means that tens of your sisters and your brothers and your sons, your babies there in Palestine, we are your sons and your brothers and your sisters. There in Palestine will be masquerade more and more, so that it's very important from your side. That will be very generous from your side to pray for us. This is very important. Second, to the media outlet, to the different media outlet. I know that Nigeria is having a very rich media correspondent here, many magazines, many TVs, radios. And our story is still high. Our story is, I will not say nearly completely, but nearly still hidden. And no one know a lot about our story. So that it's an opportunity for me, of course, and for you all to reach out to me, to discuss this issue with me. We are the other part of the story. And it is very fair. It is very fair, and it's very logic to listen to the two parts. You already have the other narrative, because again it was published and used to be published and screened and by the many Western media outlets. But now today I'm here. I'm Palestinian ambassador to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm available again 24 hours, 7 a day to tell our part of the story. It's very important. And I appeal to all of you to reach out to me for this issue. And there is a lot of messages, of course.
Of course.
But I know that time is
not
again,
on our
very
side any
limited
longer.
resources and not on our side. Back to you. Thank you so much, of course.
Ambassador, thank you so much for being part of the program. We've been discussing with Mr. Abdullah Shawesh. I got that right this time, one
Yes.
time. Abdullah Shawesh, thank you so much for being part of the program. He's the Palestinian Ambassador to Nigeria. This is where we draw the curtains on Joy Asonye Live. Rest assured, we'll be back tomorrow with so much more. Do have a wonderful evening.